it had a lot to live up to on the card alone. If you line it up even just against the SmackDown one, it didn't hit the same heights for me, and it doesn't hit the same heights as any of the kind of previous Chamber matches. Story wise, there wasn't really a story. The main story seemed to be that all the guys have been former champions, and that anyone can beat Drew. But that's like it's a Chamber match. Anyone can beat the champion in a Chamber match at any point anyway. It's relevant that they're all former champions.
It is the WWE Championship, regardless of anything else. The WWE Championship is the top 3 most prestigious world titles in wrestling. And that's what gives them the star this go around.
There was really nothing, no hype to it, really. I was like, okay, cool. Like I said, they had Drew in there, so that was probably the biggest impact of the whole match.
There is some stuff missing, though. I know it's not within the criteria that Manny laid out to me, but I would have given it another star, a cheeky little extra star, if there had been some shenanigans, maybe the Fiend turning up, because we're obviously heading to a Fiend Orton match at Mania, but they're leaving it quite late to kind of bring the Fiend back and get into Orton's head even more. I know that Alexa's doing the best she can with her Papa Shango voodoo nonsense, but I would have been happy for more shenanigans. Kind of Omos's helping AJ get in there early was kind of the only shenanigans there was from the entire match. So it's a shame for that, but then I suppose the Chamber's built to keep out this sort of stuff. So yeah, it's fine.
I thought that there was going to be some type of interruption or something, but yes, I, like many others, I thought it was going to be the Fiend as well. I thought the Fiend was either going to interrupt Kofi, eliminate someone, like turn black. I thought there was going to be some type of something, but they literally didn't do anything at all. They literally just had Randy in there, and he was literally the first one out.
The motherfucking roll up.
So I wish that, there was some type of appearance from the Fiend, but once again, I think WWE is like holding on to something, and that's why they're taking their sweet time with this Fiend, because I think that could have been a perfect opportunity.
And I think it's lack of it's not lack of creative, it's just that they're being lazy. They're being ultra super lazy. They want the instant gratification, and I think that they thought that putting the former champions in there was gonna be the instant gratification. And even though the match played out well, like, I enjoyed the match, but we'll talk about that later. But as opposed to the story, it's convoluted. Again, they could have added the Fiend, they could have added Alexa, they could have turned out the lights, and then the Fiend was in the ring. They could have added the lights.
No, I wouldn't give it a star for story, because what story?
In-ring work, it was fine. You get a star for this because all these guys are confident in the ring. They're all very good in the ring. You know what you're going to get from all of them. I like Omos helping AJ, a little bit of getting him in there early. The more AJ I can see, the better. That's good for me. Yeah, everyone's fine in the ring. Randy's probably having his best year of recent years. I love Sheamus's new full-on Irish gimmick. The more Irish he can be, the better. I love that. And Drew's coming off the year of his career as well. So yeah, it was all really good.
In-ring work, I give it a star, because even though there was nothing hyping up to it, in my opinion, the in-ring work, I knew it was going to be a good match. You had Drew, you had AJ Styles. Once you put AJ Styles in a match, I'm a big fan of AJ Styles, so I'm just like, oh, it's going to be great. So you have AJ Styles, you have Jeff Hardy. I think the in-ring work was pretty good, especially that last when something told me, I was like, when I saw the sequence, that even though that sequence was confusing at the end with Sheamus, when Sheamus bro kicked Drew, but AJ Styles decided to go for Sheamus instead of just, it didn't make sense in a way, because it was like, what? But I guess that sequence was for that final, like Drew's final moments, where he did a Claymore in the air, which was pretty sick. And I had a feeling that might happen, because I'm like, AJ Styles, I'm like, where's a Claymore going to fit in here? So that, as in-ring performance, I did enjoy, even though, like I said, that last scenario was a bit confusing with all that, like, anticipation, like, oh, So it got a little mumbo jumbo, but overall, I still think it was pretty good. You had Kofi in there, obviously. There's no, he's good too. So I give it a star.
I kind of wanted to see more from Kofi. He doesn't. I don't know. I've been sad with Kofi's not demise, but where he was from Kofi Mania to where he is now seems a long way from where he was to where he is. But yeah, he was fine as well. On Kofi, his long running kind of feud, whatever you would call it, Retribution, who are just a dead faction at this point. But it was sad that he wasn't attacked pre-match and Ali took his place in the ring, because did Kofi get attacked by Edge that one time and Edge steal his spot? I can't remember for sure. Let me know in the comments on YouTube if that happened, but it definitely happened to someone and Edge stole the spot. It could have worked well with Ali getting in here for this one and getting one over on the New Day for a change, but it's the Retribution. It's not going to happen.
There was one botch that I seen throughout the whole match, and that was when AJ went for the 450 splash the first time. Not the second time, because the second time he hit it, but the first time he fucked up and then ended up doing like a little swanton, so he recouped from it. So that's the only thing that's going to save them from getting a star right now, because everybody else was solid. All the in-ring work was good. I mean, even down to the ending, from the first fucking fisticuffs to the ending of the match where Drew kicks the shit out of AJ Styles in the face. Lovely. Called him like, you have to replay it. If you could replay it, you could show it on the... Yo, he kicked him in the face. Coming from a phenomenal... Gone. I was like, damn.
Stipulation again, it's the chamber match. I love chamber matches. They're always good, so you get a star for that one.
It's getting a star. It's the Elimination Chamber at the Elimination Chamber for the WWE Championship as the main event. It's getting a star.
Raw was pretty simple when it came to everything that was coming up to Chamber. It was just plain simple, and that was it. There was no strings attached, no nothing. It was very like 1, 2, 3. It seemed like it was like a little bit of, in my opinion, a little bit of lazy booking, because boom boom bang, 1, 2, 3, a little quick. They didn't give anything, but it's still, I still give it a star for the stipulation.
The atmosphere, again, same as SmackDown. It's a Thunderdome. It's not entertaining for me as much as it would be in front of a live crowd. It's down to no fault of the wrestlers in the match at all. They are doing the best they can in what must be really tricky circumstances to have no sort of instant reaction from anyone. Because I'm not sure if they get the sound piped into the arena. Because if they don't, then that's really weird. Just wrestling in silence. That must be very strange.
Production-wise, it's the same as SmackDown. I give it a star. They pretty much... The cameras weren't as bad other than, how... Because WWE has been... I don't know what's been going on with the production, with the back there, with their camera angles. They're like, makes me all dizzy and stuff like that. They pretty much caught every shot. So I was glad. So we didn't really miss out on much on these matches. They pretty much got every spot. Thank God, because lately, we've seen already how that's been going. And then, so I give that a star.
When it pertains to the Elimination Chamber and the overall atmosphere from them, then they get the star because of the title was on the line. It was the main event. The anticipation was there. And of course, what happened at the end of the match as well. So it's there. It gets a star.
As for the chamber itself, I really like the old chamber. I like the structure that Bischoff apparently put together. I like the grates on the outside rather than the padded thing. But I also do really like the new doors they have, because those old doors, I don't know, they all seem to get stuck or they didn't open properly. But I like these new ones. They shut and they open much easier. If they could have got somewhere between the two, get rid of the padding, keep the new doors. I'd have been over the moon with how the chamber looks.
The cage, everything hurts, even though they died down a little bit with the design of the Elimination Chamber, but it still hurts. Everything still it hurts. That's still plexiglass. That's still the wood underneath the ring plus the steel. with the little padding, it doesn't matter. That shit hurt. Everything hurts.
I liked the Miz cash in. I mean, it was obviously telegraphed earlier in the match with before the match with him talking to MVP and then Bobby coming out and destroying Drew after the bell. Not a problem for me. Miz had to cash in here because you don't cash in at Fastlane because Miz is not going to WrestleMania as champion. I don't know if anyone's pinning their hopes on that. Sorry to burst your bubbles, but he is not going to be defending that title at WrestleMania. But yeah, I'm happy for him to win here and take the belt, and then he's obviously a transition champ to probably Bobby heading into WrestleMania. So yeah, it was good. Overall, 3 stars. Not as good as SmackDown.
For me, not knowing and seeing Bobby Lashley beat the holy hell out of Drew McIntyre, it's like, oh, yo, Bobby Lashley is next. He's like, I'm next. He said, fuck all that. Next. And then I'm like, okay, prepping myself, Drew versus Bobby. But then here comes the Miz, and I was like, this nigga's a genius. And like, he's got it. He's done it. You know? So for him to pick up that victory, it was a feel-good moment, whether you liked it or not.
Overall, I gave it a star for the overall, kind of the whole thing together. It gets another star from me. But in total, that's 3 stars from me for that match, which I think seems quite generous. But then it wasn't a bad match. It just didn't live up to the SmackDown levels.
As convoluted as the storyline was, the in-ring work saved the match. And again, being that it was for the title, you had no choice but to be invested somewhat. So it gets a star.
I enjoyed it. Even like I said, even though compared to SmackDown, even though the stipulation was pretty straightforward, the match overall was pretty entertaining. I did enjoy it. They were both good chamber matches. Raw delivered what they said they were going to deliver, and they did. They delivered exactly what I was expecting. So I give that a star as well.